have you been up to this past few months?
That's good advice.
Yeah. What were you
Data analytics.
Well, you like it?
The next 5 or 6 years.
Oh, nice. Okay, so you.
I know.
Okay, Alex, can you say something?
Check. Vimy. I am super late.
All right, we're live. Let's kick this off. Everyone, we're gonna get started here. This is our Vim workshop. I'm just gonna turn it over to Alex, and you can go wild.
Hey everybody, my name's Alex. I'm a software engineer. I really like Vim. I'm super late today. I'm terribly sorry. I thought it started at 11, but it doesn't. It started at 10. Yeah. Okay, let's jump into it. This is, if anybody wants to read this on screen, over 1 year, the average Vim user saves 11 minutes in productivity. However, they lose 24 or 27 hours through evangelizing Vim to non-users. This is the epitome of Vim.
And 14 days of their life configuring.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. Cool. On that note, Vim, how to develop like a ninja. These slides were inspired by something I found online, but I've done some work to it. But by the end of this, everybody's going to be a ninja and code like a ninja. So what is Vim? Vim is a text editor, kind of like Sublime or Notepad. It's not really an IDE out of the box, like you might see with VS Code. You can think of it as a text editor. However, there's a lot of people in the world that use it as their IDE because there's a lot of customizability. The famous part about Vim, the most identifying piece, is that you don't use your mouse when you're editing with Vim. Your mouse doesn't work. And the reason why you get away with that is because it provides a language for editing text. It's a lot like learning a spoken language or a programming language, the same kind of paradigms, or a similar kind of syntax paradigm you're learning when you learn how to use this tool. But this feature is a powerhouse feature, and we're going to dive in why. The goals of this talk specifically: number one, to learn how to learn Vim. It's Vim has this infamous learning curve. So we're going to learn how to learn Vim effectively so we can be productive on day one. And finally, I want to show you that it's actually worth the effort. It's a massive mountain to climb, but I'd argue heavily that the results are worth it. Yeah, I already mentioned this infamous learning curve. This is actually a meme joking on how stupid Emacs is, but the Vim part is telling. You see the learning curve for different text editors. You have Notepad. There's not much that you can do. There's Pico. There's Visual Studio, VS Code. Then there's Vim. There's this vertical uphill climb at the beginning, and then it flattens off. Emacs is dumb. However, I don't think that the learning curve actually looks like that. I think it looks more like this. At the beginning, you start to realize all that you have to do, and you question whether it's worth the effort, and your confidence goes down over time. Until you hit this inflection point where you start getting good, and then you get really good really fast. But the difference in the last graph is that you don't actually stop getting really good. It's the more you use Vim, every amount of time you put into Vim, you get back later on. So you keep getting better for however long you use it. The goal of this talk is to get you about here, to get you past the point of where you're feeling bad about yourself and where you can start getting good really fast on day one. First, it's just like a little inspiration. This is a video about, it's a pretty cool video. It's this guy, he builds the Facebook login screen, the old Facebook login screen, using Vim and not using Vim, and times himself. And you can see him make progress at the beginning. He's coding one of them. He's using his mouse a lot. The other one, he's just like keeping his hands at the keyboard, and that's the Vim version. And pretty soon you start to see one start to make a lot faster progress than the other. And by the end of the video, he finishes the Facebook with Vim and almost twice as fast as the non-Vim one. This is the inspiration. This is the kind of streamline and ninja-like abilities you can get by just switching your tools. Now, the ninja setup. Before we actually get into Vim, there's some things we have to do to our computer to get it in a position of where Vim is very useful. So don't feel obligated to follow along necessarily. Just, kind of hang on for the ride and look at the slides afterwards. That's the recommendation. Number one, we have to hack our keyboard. The first thing that every software engineer should do on a new laptop is remapping caps lock to escape. Even if you're not using Vim, this is super, super helpful. There's no reason why you need the caps lock key on your keyboard. But with Vim, you're going to be using escape a lot, and you want it to be close to your hand. So, yeah, say goodbye to caps lock. And finally, the second is lower your key repeat delay. This is the delay of when you press down a key and it starts typing multiple like repeated keys. So if you do it initially, you press it, you have to wait like 6 or 7 years, and then it starts typing. And also, it doesn't type very fast; it types pretty slowly. So you can reduce those delays, and it makes you much faster everywhere. I highly recommend doing this. I'm not going to show you how to do this; just Google it. Super easy on Mac. It's a little bit tougher on Windows, but you'll be able to figure it out. There might be an external piece of software you need. Elementary Vim speak. Another prereq before we dive into actually using Vim is learning some of the verbiage. And then once we learn the words, using Vim will be easier. Also, sorry, does anybody have any questions so far? Just looking fine. Fantastic. Vim speak. Vim is a modal editor. Modal means it has different modes. So when Vim is in different modes, the keys on the keyboards means different things. So you have to kind of map your brain of, there's these different modes, and you can do different things inside of these modes. The one that's most familiar is going to be insert mode. This is like notepad mode, where you press a key on your keyboard and it spits out on the screen. This is where noobs like to live most often. They get into insert mode and they just stay there and use the arrow keys, but we're going to get away from that. So insert mode is mapped to the letter I. Oh, with all these modes, how it works is if you type the key that corresponds to the mode, like insert mode has the key of I. Typing the key gets you into the mode. Escape brings you out of the mode. That's why you're using escape all the time. So I brings you into insert mode. Escape brings you back out of insert mode. And then there's visual mode. Visual mode is for highlighting. And then normal mode is for everything else. And that's what you're going to be in by default. The majority of this talk is going to be talking about normal mode. And this is where you'll see the vast majority of your efficiency. One thing to note is that most text editors prioritize the insertion of text. That's why they put you in insert mode all the time. Vim is designed for developers. And as a developer, much more often you're reading text and editing existing text than you're writing new text to begin with. So they make the default mode your editing mode and moving around mode. So that's why they do what they do. Another piece of vocabulary. If you look online of how to do something, oftentimes you'll see in Stack Overflow, they'll say, put this in your Vim RC. Unless you went to the workshop last week, you probably have never heard of an RC file. Your Vim RC is your settings file, and it's located for Mac in your home directory, /.vimrc. I don't recommend you trying to mess with one to begin with. Just steal one. Steal somebody else's, and that'll kickstart you. You're welcome to steal mine. Mine's a GitHub. If you like my Vim, which you'll see in a moment, but if you just Google starter Vim RCs, you'll find a good one to jumpstart your Vim career. Cool. Okay, that's all the prereqs. Let's actually get into Vim. Step one of coding like a ninja is flying around like Superman. Yeah, the analogies are quite messed up, but So flying around like Superman without a mouse. This is another section. Don't try to memorize the commands. It'll be kind of overwhelming, but just try to hang on for the ride and learn that the commands exist and try to learn the correct name for the command, and then the keys will kind of make sense. So flying around like Superman. Okay, this story begins with you. You are Superman. Superman is your cursor in the middle of a map, but Superman has special powers. He can teleport to the beginning or end of a street. He can teleport to the next or previous screen, or basically anywhere on the map just by saying a magic word. Imagine that power, being able to just jump anywhere by just saying a magic word, Incredibly powerful. This is how Vim works. Your cursor is Superman, and you have a bunch of magic words that can teleport you around your screen, or really anywhere around your file. And in Vim speak, these magic words are called motions. So in Vim, you have motions. These are your things to jump around the screen with. So you're Superman, you're sitting in the middle of a map, and overlaid, superimposed over your map, you see a bunch of different magic words or different hotkeys. Don't worry about don't worry about the keys necessarily, but just the idea is you're projecting this map of magic words, and at all times you can jump anywhere on the map. And the goal of using Vim is to jump everywhere with as few keystrokes as possible. So these are like a few positions. The most basic magic word are your cursor movements. These are like your arrow key movements, and they're mapped to H, J, K, and L. This might seem weird at first, having your cursor movements mapped to H, J, K, L, but the reason why is because the people that make them understand that most often you're just moving between a few lines or a few characters. So they put the thing that you're doing most often where your fingers are all the time. That's why if you're in normal mode, your fingers are here all the time. There's a bunch of people that make cool keyboards, and there's this whole subreddit around Vim keyboards. So yeah, there's a really cool site called vimkeycaps.com. I don't have a picture from that, but you can buy keycaps for your mechanical keyboard that highlight all of the H, J, K, and L. So what does that look like? So here I'm in my command line, and let's open up some. Actually, let's. Here we go. Is this visible for everybody? Okay, if you're wondering, the thing that's popping up on the side is what I'm pressing down, so you can see what I'm doing. My cursor is right here, and I'm going to press L, and that's going to move me to the right. J brings me down. K brings me up. H brings me to the left. So I recommend the first thing that you should do is just kind of get used to this action. It feels wonky at first, but use it for 10 minutes, and then you'll get it under your fingers. Yeah, that's moving around. Shoot.
How do we enter Vim?
Great question. If you're on the command line, just type Vim and then a file name. Boom, we're in Vim. So you're just moving around, arrow key movements.
Vim's standard all Mac.
Yeah, it's part of the basic developer tools packages in most operating systems. So it's in every Linux box. Oh, I didn't mention that at the beginning, but that's another huge reason to learn Vim. It's when you're on foreign systems, oftentimes Vim is the only text editor you've got, like Vim and Nano. But Vim is infinitely more powerful than Nano, so you'll want to learn Vim.
Some Linux distros don't come with Nano. Like if it's like a real lightweight, tiny one.
Yeah, like Alpine.
Yeah,
it's just Vim. So yeah, it's super helpful to learn this. If you, I don't know, I've worked with people that have to work in boxes all the time and they don't know how to use Vim, and then they just end up like SCPing files back and forth so they can edit it on their own computer, and that's it's foolish. Cool. Does this make sense? Is everybody following along? Awesome. Okay, some more hotkeys. Again, you don't really have to focus on memorizing these keystrokes. Just kind of know that they exist, and when it comes up, try to remember the key. So, in order to jump to the top line of your file, you press GG. That's easy to remember. Capital G brings you to the bottom of the file, and you can also move. There's the magic words for the beginning or end of the line. 0 brings you to the beginning of the line, and $sign brings you to the end of the line. There's another character for the beginning of the line. It's caret. The reason why it's $sign and 0 or caret, it maps to regex. So if you're familiar with regular expressions, the people who made Vim know that developers already know regular expressions. So there's a lot of overlap. So what does that actually look like? I can go to the beginning of a line with 0. I can go to the end of the line with $sign. GG brings me to the top of the file. Capital G brings me to the bottom of the file. Cool. Make sense? There's more stuff to learn. You can move by then you can move. There's other motions for different common collections of characters. So you can move by words. Word to go forwards a word, you got W. Backwards a word is B. That's easy to remember. Words and backwards. You can move by sentences. Sentences are mapped to parentheses, and paragraphs are mapped to braces. You're not going to be doing that very often, but it's kind of cool. Show that off. I can move by words by hitting W. It brings me to like a classic word. I can move by sentences. It doesn't really make sense in code, but if I were writing an essay, it would move by grammatical sentences. But I can also move by paragraphs, and this is useful all the time. All the time you have code blocks, and you just want to move up a couple paragraphs. So Vim makes it easy to move by paragraphs. What else can you do? Well, sometimes you want to move by a certain number of these items. Well, if you type in a number before the thing you want to do, then it'll move you that number of times. So if you want to do, if you want to move one word in the future, one word forward, you press W. If you want to move 2 words forwards, you press 2W. And same thing with backwards. B brings you back 1 word, 2B brings you back 2 words. Is this making sense? Cool. Oh no, gauge the room. How are you guys doing? Following along? It's okay? It's okay?
Memorized every keystroke.
Sorry?
Memorized every keystroke.
Every keystroke. That's okay. It'll by the end of the talk, you'll have already memorized like half of them without trying.
Pretty much saved my life already.
Yeah?
There it goes.
Oh.
Key repeat.
Yeah.
I swear I was getting carpal tunnel.
Nice. Cool. We'll keep going. Okay, this brings us to our first to-do. Our first checkpoint is to master movement. Before we do anything else, we have to be really comfortable moving around our file. So my suggestion is the quiz is just see a point in your file and try to get there efficiently. So how does that work? Here's my cursor all the way up on line 3. I want to go down to this question mark. What can I do to make that happen? Go L. Well, I'm on a line that's not good. Let's first get to the line. Actually, before
paragraph down, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I jump by paragraph. Remember what that's mapped to?
Was it B?
It's curly brace. Paragraphs are curly braces. So I'm going to move down a paragraph. Then maybe I'm going to go down a couple of lines. And now I want to go to this question mark, and I see that that's like 6 or so words away. I need a couple more. So 6W brings me a few words, and I'm there.
So you didn't hit W 6 times. You hit 6 and then W.
Yep. So yeah, the numbers are super helpful.
The number and then the W.
Yep. And that works for anything. Let's say I want to move. Okay. Another kind of cool quirk that with configuration is out of the box, the lines are just numbered like any other editor, 1 through N. But I set my editor so that the current line displays the actual line number of the file, and then I see it counts away the number of lines from my cursor. The reason why I do that is because if I see a line, I know it's six lines up, so I can just hit 6K and I'm there.
Oh, nice.
Or if I want to go down here, I see it's 13 lines down, so I hit 13J and I'm down there.
And,
Sure.
and so like that 17 that's yellow there, is that basically saying, okay, this is line 17?
Exactly. So yeah, if I go 8 up, 17 minus 8, that's going to be line 11. I don't ever do that math in real time. I always just see, okay, I want to go to this line. I see it's 8 above where I am right now. I'm there. Boom, I'm on line 9.
Nice.
And that's the functionality of the editor that you're using, right?
This is so it's the configuration, and it's set up in my vimrc. Technically, okay, if you're curious, to set up this, you set RNU relative numbers and NU the numbers.
So
yeah.
if we install your GitHub file,
You'll have this out of the box.
can we do that real quick?
Sure. Yeah. Actually, let's save it till the end. Let's get through it a little bit more. It'll be overwhelming to try to mess around.
Everyone's going to run into their own unique issues on their setup, so we can do some like kind of workshop time.
Okay.
Also, we need to know how to like save and quit and stuff before we jump into.
There's a quick setting that you can turn on relative line numbers.
Yeah, it's set RNU if you're wondering. So set RNU is relative numbers.
How do you get into that little editor?
Colon set RNU. We'll get there. But honestly, I encourage you to hold off, and I know everybody's eager to jump into the future. Try to hang on for the ride, and we'll get there. We'll get there when we get there. Other things you can do to master movement. There's something that comes out of the box in basically every operating system called Vim Tutor. Actually, it doesn't come out of the box in Windows, but in Mac and Linux, it comes out of the box. So if you go to a command line, and sorry for the size, ignorance is bliss. Fortune, whatever. If you type Vim Tutor in your command line, it'll pop you into this really cool tutorial level for Vim. And this is how I learned. They start, the first lesson, they explain about Vim, and first thing they do is moving the cursor, and they have a bunch of lessons. It takes about, I'd say, 3 hours to get through this if you go through slowly and deliberately. but it's another great tool. Pack them. Okay, this is pretty sick. Oops. Pack them is pretty awesome. Pack them is a brew package where you can play Pac-Man with Vim. So I press enter to play, and now I'm moving around texts. At first, you'll just be using the arrow keys. So you see the little G's, those are ghosts. So I have to avoid those while highlighting all of the text on the screen. Yeah, at first you'll just be using the arrow keys, and then you'll be scared and you'll lose and you'll hit a ghost. But eventually you'll realize that, okay, the word functionality is like super OP. And then, oh shoot, I remember top of the file. That's like super overpowered. Bottom of the file. Okay, as you get better at this game, you get much better at navigating, and it starts to become under your fingers much more quickly. You can go, actually, I don't know if they have sentences, but yeah. If you get everything, you win the game. This definitely leveled up my movement in Vim. I wasn't nearly as fluent before playing this game.
When you moved just now in that game, did you move in the word, or did you hit like 6J, 6W?
Let's try it. So this isn't real Vim. This is like an emulation, just of the game. 6W. Oh, I lost the game too fast. Let's give it a shot. 3W. Oh, there's walls. Okay, let's do 2B. Okay, it works. Yeah. Yeah, I lost. Cool. Okay, so brew install PackVim. That's how you get PackVim. And then Vim Adventures. Vim Adventures is this really cool Pokemon game. I have this pulled up somewhere. Click here to reconnect. So you're a little person. You're moving around. They teach you how. It's hooray! I can't believe the shadowy cursor has come at last. And you learn the story. You're moving around. The game. You're meeting new people, and they teach you all the motions. But this is really sick. I didn't know about this until after I kind of knew them, but I wish I knew about it earlier. You'll see online that they have you have to pay for the full version. That there's a paywall eventually, but they do have like enterprise classes. So if anybody wants to fork in for a subscription, I'd be down. Okay, we've mastered movements. We're like Superman. We're ninjas. Step 2 is to learn to fight. Fighting. The analogy is editing text. Before we get there, does anybody have any more questions about movement?
I think it made sense to me. Yeah. Questions about it before Alex goes on?
Fantastic. Learn to fight, editing text. This is, the beef and potatoes. Now that we're good at moving around, we have to learn how to combine that with us editing text, running and gunning. So, Superman, he applies actions along motions. Motions are those things we already understand, but actions are like the verbs. So you have two things, verbs and nouns. Motions, yeah, we already learned those. Those are like words and sentences. Those are our nouns. We have actions, stuff you want to do to those words and nouns. Here's a few examples of the most basic actions. There's delete, so we can delete a motion. We can yank a motion. It's yanking is copying, but because copy is C is change, we have to think, instead of using the word copy, we're going to say yank. And yeah, again, try not to memorize the keys and get overwhelmed with that. Just think of delete, yank, and change. And then the keys will become easier. So delete, yank, and change. So we have an action, and we combine that with a motion. Emotion are our nouns. These are like words, end of the line, the start of the line, till the letter X. Wait a minute, these kind of look familiar. We've seen these before. This is the same tools that we use to move around the screen. But now these are also our emotions. There's a new one, till the letter X. We haven't talked about that one yet. But if I want to do something until the letter X, I would put TX.
Question on that.
Yep.
Is that literally X, or are we just using that for like any key, like till the number 6? Or?
Yeah, it works for any key. So if you would do TX, literally is until the letter X. If you TO, it's till the letter O, etc. Pop quiz. DW. What would that mean? From the words we just learned. Yeah, delete, and then what was word? Oh fuck, I just deleted. So this is delete a word. We're making sentences. We got our verb, we got our noun. We want to delete a word. So DW. What about 2DW? What do you think that means?
I did it twice.
Yeah, I'm going to delete 2 words. So just like we can jump by 2 words or 3 words, we can use numbers in our actions as well. So if we want to delete the next 2 words, we're going to do 2 DW.
Does D2W also do the same thing?
No, it doesn't. Yeah, 2, then the action and what you want to do. It's always the number before the thing you want to do. So if you want to jump by 2 words, it's 2, and then like jump by a word, which is W. If you want to delete 2 words, it's delete a word is delete 1 word, or DW is delete 1 word. 2, delete a word is delete 2 words. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, shit. Sorry, the Zoom is doing weird things. That's okay. So I can move around just like normal. If I want to delete a word, I'm going to hit DW. That deletes the next word. DW. If I want to delete 2 words, I hit 2DW. Is it making sense?
Can you do it from the middle of the word?
Yeah, I can. So how Vim handles that is it basically it looks at wherever your cursor is, and then it goes until like that next the start of the next object. So like if I'm in the middle of a word and I hit W, it brings me to the start of the next word. But if I hit DW, it deletes until that same point.
Oh, so it doesn't delete before the cursor. Okay.
Yeah, it's until like the start of the next object that I'm targeting. So DW. If I do DW again, it's just 1 character because the equal sign is a word barrier. If I do it again, it's until the next word barrier and so on. Cool. So we can think of this as our grid. Superman, and we superimpose all of our magic words over the screen. So at any point in the file, we can go delete 1 word, which is until the next word. We can delete 2 words. We can go delete backwards, which is like delete B or DB. It works the same way. Pop quiz. CT comma. Ooh, we're gonna have to jog our brains for this one. CT comma. What do we think that means?
So C is change.
Until
Nice.
comma.
Change till the comma. You got it. This is how the vocabulary works. We learn that a few things exist, and then it just kind of starts making sense. Like you start constructing sentences with what you want to do. I want to change till the comma. What does that look like? Well, if I want to let's say I want to change until this double quote, what would I hit for that?
CT double quote.
CT double quote. And that puts me in insert mode. And then I can type something and escape, and boom, I've changed until the double quote.
So the only difference between delete and change is you end up in insert mode, so you can add something else.
You got it. Yeah, it does the exact same thing.
Question about how you're doing that. Are you when you hit something like CT double quote, are you hitting CT double quote enter, or are you having to hit the keys quick enough for it to like group them?
You can do it as slowly as you want. Vim's smart enough to realize when you're done typing. So there's no other like continuation past CTW. So there's nothing else that it could mean other than change to the word. So I can type, C, wait, T, wait at 10 years, equal sign, boom.
I get it. It's because it has this strict grammar about like the verbs and nouns and all that. That like it's like if you don't finish it, it doesn't know what to do, so it's just waiting for the next thing, I guess.
Precisely.
But if you decide you want to do another command in the middle of a command,
You just hit escape, and then so let's say I want to change till I actually want to change like 6 words. Escape. Let me get out of it. That's the escape key. Change, or actually, sorry, 6 C W. So change 6 words.
Nice.
Cool. We following along? It's making sense. Starting to make sense. Cool.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Another pop quiz. Y0. What do you think that means?
Yank 0, copy 0.
Okay, yank. Yeah, we got yank. What is? Does anybody remember what 0 is?
Home on the first character of the row.
Yeah, you got it. Yank all the way to the beginning of the line. So cool. Yeah, we got our everything. So if If I want to yank, the one thing we haven't talked about is what actually happens when you copy, like how do you paste, but we'll get there. But I can hit Y, 0, and that yanked me all the way to the beginning of the line, and then I can press P and it pastes it. This becomes super useful. Let's say I want to.
Control Z you just did.
U is undo.
U is undo. Okay.
Yep.
What was that you said?
U means undo. So if I want to undo, I can undo all the way back to the very beginning of the file.
I thought you said control D and it was just you. And I was confused. Got it.
Nah, it's
I said Control Z.
Control Z.
That's what I'm used to.
Okay.
That's just
you're gonna have to forget everything that you're used to. Everything is different. Everything is different now. So yank to the beginning of the line. That looks like this. Yanks all the way to the beginning of the line.
Is the yank also select? Just move the cursor.
Yank is copy.
Copy.
Copy. Yeah. So but try to get out of forget the word copy exists. Use yank. Yank is grab. I want to yank it from the screen.
Does it copy? Does it copy and cut? Does it cut it? Or
Yank
just
is
select?
it reads and then stores it in your buffer. Yeah.
But it does delete it. So yeah, it's like.
No, it doesn't delete it. So yank does not.
Oh, it doesn't.
Yeah, so I can yank to the beginning of the line. The line's still there, and I can paste it immediately.
That's what's counterintuitive about it is it sounds like yanking would be the one that cuts.
Yeah, there's another one. So delete also yanks to your clipboard. So if I wanted to get rid of it, I just delete it, and then I can actually still paste whatever I just deleted.
Oh, that's
Can you do all that again, but a little slower?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's say delete is like cut. Yeah,
Gotcha.
but delete yank is like copy.
Tell me what you're about to do, and then do it.
Okay, what I want to do is I want to call it cut and paste, but using Vim speak, I'm going to delete a word, and then I want to paste that word down a few lines down.
Okay.
So I'm going to hit.
One link down.
Yep. So I'm going to hit DW. Also, can you guys see? Is this big enough?
Yeah.
Okay. So DW. Let me undo that. DW. And that deleted a word, and now it's basically my clipboard. I can move down and I can paste it. Or to be more clear, yeah, that's what I'm pasting.
Can you undo all that again?
Yep.
So now, rel became the front word. Okay.
Yeah, yank leaves it intact. So yank, it's like copy, So I'm gonna hit. Let's try it with yank. So that's Y, W. So I'm gonna yank a word. I'm gonna move down a few lines. I'm going to paste. Okay, more pop quizzes. Let's say I wanted to delete from this like N all the way until this slash. How would I do that? So I'm over here. I want to delete everything, or I want to delete everything that's until the slash and then paste it somewhere else. How do I do that? T slash, boom, and I can go down and then paste that. Okay, you can start like smelling when you learn all of the vocabulary and all of the words, how it can become ninja-like very quickly. You think of exactly what you want it to happen, and then in a very few number of keystrokes, it's done. Okay, to do number 2. So we already know how to move around. This is running and gunning. Apply actions while moving around. So this is another pop quiz moment. What we're going to do is we're going to think of something to do in this file, and then we're going to do it in a very few number of keystrokes, and then that'll be our test. So you see our cursor is down here. Okay, I want to pop quiz. I want to delete these 2 words and then paste them up here. How would I do that? A few number of keystrokes. Rich, pop quiz. Okay, walk me through. What do I have to do to delete this couple of words and paste them up here?
My
cursor's down here.
Yank those words.
Yeah? Okay, so my cursor's down here. What do I have to do first?
I have no idea. You need to go up like 8.
So run it.
You can do
yeah.
like what's that? 10 L's.
Or-
L up,
Yeah, 10 ups, which is K. Yeah, you got it.
and then
need to go backwards. So what's backwards?
I go backwards words.
So backwards is mapped to B. So we got words and backwards. So B brings me back.
Okay.
Then I want to delete a word twice. What do I do?
Are you deleting it or removing it?
Yeah, I want to.
Deleting and moving the same thing.
Yeah, so well, when you delete it, it's like cutting it.
Got it. So 2 DW.
Oh, you got it. So 2DW, delete 2 words, and now
Or
What?
remove.
I want to paste them up here.
So I do 6L again.
Or a
Can you
K.
hop a paragraph?
6K, sorry.
Can you hop a paragraph?
Oh, good idea. So we can hop a paragraph.
Yeah, I don't remember that command.
So that's paragraphs are mapped to curly braces.
Okay.
So we have to go up a couple paragraphs.
Okay.
And now what do we do to paste it? Well, think of what would paste be in your perfect world?
Control E.
No, no. No. Think of the verbs. If I make
Paste to P for paste?
yeah, P for paste. It's most things are what you think they would be.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, P is paste. Okay, cool. That was awesome.
Teamwork.
What else can we do? Pop quiz, Steven. I wanna yank this head and paste them at the end of this line.
Okay, so I mean, first I try the curly brace that takes you down a paragraph,
Okay.
and then another one.
Well, that's all the way at the bottom. So
My bad.
It's okay.
But you wanted to get to what, the title or props? Which one?
head. I want to grab
Like
head.
Okay, so then I would do like down is what, K or J, right?
Yep, you got
And
it.
you do like 6J.
Or let's see. What's the number beside it?
6. Oh, sorry. From my angle, it looks like 5.
All
not
good.
6
It's
down
5.
here.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
so
5.
5J. And then you're going to want to go, what, K or L or next? How do you get it right? Is it L?
Yeah, L.
So, like, just keep hitting L until you get there. And
That's an
then
option.
I would do a Y for yank.
Yank.
Yep.
And what do I want to yank?
Oh, you want to yank until the end of a word. So YW?
Yeah, yank a word.
Okay.
So now, okay, just to repeat, yank W. So
And then-
we've got to yank a word, and we
and
want to paste it all the way at the bottom.
Try doing the curly brace to go down a paragraph.
Yeah, curly brace, but there's even something. Okay, it's equivalent of
Oh,
our
the
t-shirts.
line. Is it
Or end of the file even. Remember, end of the file, we only briefly
is it
touched that.
0?
It's capital G, so we got GG, capital G for top and bottom of the file. And then we
Okay.
can paste it.
So good game is the top of the file and game is the bottom.
Yeah, GG or capital G, yeah.
When you have something on your, I guess, clipboard, does it display it anywhere?
There's a way to see it, but don't worry about it. Just, if you forget what's there, just hit escape and then just do it again. So and I encourage you guys, as you're learning this, try not to get caught up in like all the individual things. Just think about what you kind of want to do. Like, okay, I want to yank that thing and move it over there. And okay, what do I got to do? I got to first bring my cursor down there, and then I got to yank it, and then I want to paste it up there. Thinking about these like higher level sentences that you're creating, it makes it much easier. Cool. Running and gunning. Shortcuts. The people that made Vim are really smart, so they realize as a programmer, oftentimes you're applying actions to an entire line. So they mapped, if you press the action twice, it applies it to the whole line. So YY yanks the whole line, DD deletes the whole line, CC changes the whole line. And just to give you a taste of some of the power, G capital U, uppercase is the whole line. There's a million things you can do, but
Nice.
but yeah, so let's look
Can
at
you
that.
lowercase the whole line too?
Yep, G lowercase u is
Ah,
lowercase. Yeah, or just capital U, like casing uppercase, and then the opposite of uppercase. They like to do that a lot, where the capital is the opposite of the thing.
That was great.
No, it's just don't worry about it. It's not important. Okay, so I can yank a whole line YY and paste it immediately, and it pastes the whole line. Oh shoot, wait, I'm going to be using this all the time. Let's think about the alternative of what we'd be doing otherwise. Well, on any other text editor, I'm going to use my mouse. I'm going to highlight this whole thing. I'm going to look down, hit Control V or Control C, and then I'm going to hit Control V somewhere. It's archaic by comparison. Versus, I want to copy that line, 10K, yank P, YY. And then if I want to delete the line, well, remind me what delete a line is. DD. Let's say I want to delete 5 lines. What do you think that is?
5 DD.
Hey, you got it.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Okay. This is a good stopping point for questions. Any questions about how any of this works so far? Cool. Let's keep going. Text objects. This is what blew my mind the first time and really got me hooked. All that stuff's awesome, but this is where it starts being a killer. This is where it gets really, really cool. So what are text objects? This is where we can apply an action either inside or around one of our beloved motions. So Vim treats all of these things as objects. There's words, sentences, paragraphs, double quotes, single quotes, all the different types of brackets, braces, curly braces, parentheses, angle brackets, and HTML tags. It also treats as objects. Well, what does this mean? Well, we can use an action. We can specify either inside or around. That means just, do we want to include the wrapping or not? Like, do we want to leave the quotes there or just do it to whatever's inside of the quotes? So we have an action inside or around one of these text objects. So let's say that we have, a quote, something in quotes, and we want to delete everything inside of the quotes. That would be delete inside the double quotes.
How does it work with the sentence?
Let's say that we're in the middle of a sentence and we want to delete the sentence that we're currently hovered over. What would we do? We would hit D inside S, the sentence. Delete inside the sentence. This might get a little bit confusing because sentences map to something else in our brain. But the reason why we have to do that is because we need to use these bracings as other text objects. So let's say that there's a pair of parentheses in our sentence. We want to be able to either target just the stuff inside the parentheses or the whole sentence. So we have to learn a couple things.
So what is Vim's definition of a sentence?
Sorry?
What is Vim's definition of a sentence?
It's like an English sentence. It's from I can't remember if it's with casing, but it's basically between periods. So if you're writing, I can show that off in a moment.
Or exclamation point, question mark.
Yeah, punctuation. It's pretty good. It's smart. In college when I was learning Vim, I would write my essays in Vim, and that's when that stuff really shines. When you're writing documentation, it's really helpful to have that stuff under your fingers.
The author Neil Stephenson, sci-fi author, he writes all of his novels in Vim and Emacs.
That's hilarious. Cool. Let's see this work in action. Oh shit! I always forget that I don't have to do that. Okay. If I want, let's say I want to delete everything inside of these parentheses. I want to delete all of this stuff. I would hit D, I, parenthesis.
Can you use either parenthesis?
Great question. Yes, you can delete inside the parenthesis. There's a subtle difference, but it's not really important right now. But yeah, you can. And then I can paste that somewhere else. Whoa. Okay. Let's say I want to delete everything inside of this HTML tag. How would I do that? Well, I can go 5 down. I'm going to be inside of this HTML tag. And I delete inside the tag. Whoa, this is cool.
So you say delete inside tag, it just does whatever tag you're inside of.
Correct. Whatever one you're over. Delete inside the tag. Boom, it's the head tag because that's where my cursor was.
And do you have to be in between the tags, or can you be like on the opening tag thing?
Yeah, so it's whatever one you're hovering over. Actually, so it's not perfect. So the Vim was created before these empty component tags were created, so it actually doesn't recognize this properly. But for normal HTML tags, it does. So I can do delete around the tag, and then boom, everything around those tags is gone. I can paste them somewhere else. Yeah, this is this alone is the reason to use Vim over other stuff. All the time when you're programming, you're thinking about applying stuff inside of different bracings. Okay, another cool thing. Let's undo a lot of this. let's say I want to delete everything, or okay. Let's say I want to change something or change inside of this tag, or change just the contents of this HTML tag. You know, like main, class name, all that stuff. How could I do that?
Change them.
Yeah, change.
Remind me what changes you said.
I think it's-
C?
C. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, C for change.
Well, what conceptually does it do? Change.
Yeah. So what it does is it deletes it, puts you in insert mode.
Okay.
So I want to, let's say, I'll just give it to you. I can change inside the angle brackets because I see that's the bracing I'm looking at. And boom, it puts me in insert mode. I'm going to do type change and hit escape. Okay, well, another cool thing that I haven't mentioned yet is Vim saves the thing you last did under a special key. It's dot. So if you press dot, it repeats the thing you last did. Well, what did I just do? I changed inside the angle brackets to change. Well, now I can be over another set of angle brackets and hit dot, and it's going to change inside the angle brackets change. Oh, wait. Oh, this is insane.
But if you're not inside angle brackets,
It just doesn't do anything. So I'm not inside angle brackets. I'm hitting, oh, it found it.
so it goes in the next angle bracket.
I'm a liar. Yeah.
So,
Not sure, yeah.
on the line, the one above that line,
Sorry?
you go up one line.
Yep.
And now hit dot. Nothing happens?
Found the next one and changed it.
Oh, that's the next one. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't think I would do that. There's something new every day. Change inside the parentheses. This is my new paren. Cool. I'm gonna move down. Is there another set of parentheses in this file? Oh, here's another set of parentheses. Dot. Oh, just kidding.
There's the big set after return, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. So I changed something inside the parentheses. I'm going to go into this other mask set of parentheses, dot. Okay, now when you start getting this stuff under your fingers again, running and gunning, your productivity goes way up when you're writing code. Okay. Think about quotes. This is just another visual. If you use I, you're going to target all of the text inside of the wrapping. So if like a DI double quote, it's going to just target the text. And so DI double quote, there's going to be two double quotes left. If I do DA double quote, the double quotes are included. So the quotes are going to be gone as well. So like inside or around. So you think of the box that your thing's in. Example, I can do DI paren, and as you can see there's parentheses left. If I do D around DA paren, the parentheses are gone. Cool, making sense?
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Okay, now we've kind of mastered, or we know all of the essentials of Vim. Now you're better than like half of the Vim users on the planet, just by knowing those few things. But there's some miscellaneous essentials that you need to know in order to start using it, like saving and quitting. Online, you'll see a lot of memes about people like not knowing how to quit Vim. Like, for example, they'll like have like a jail cell, and then over the block they'll have like the instructions to quit Vim, and like, oh, I can't get out of Vim. Those things keep people in. So save is :W, quit is :Q. You can combine them and do WQ, and it's right quit. Oh yeah, W stands for write. I'm going to write to the file. So :W. I can search throughout the file. There's a built-in search engine, so I can find by just hitting slash. So slash is my searcher. I can undo and redo with U and Control-R. What does that look like? Well, I can save : you can see down here. There's my text or my command lines down there. So : brings me into the command line. I can escape to get out of the command line, move around again, but : W saves the file. Boom, it's written. Yeah, so as the file's written, I can hit :Q and it'll quit the file. Get back in. I can do :WQ and it'll save and quit. If you're worried about accidentally deleting your work by hitting :Q without WQ, that's okay. Vim's pretty smart. So if you try to delete without saving, it'll warn you. So yeah, okay, no writes is last change. Add an exclamation point to override. So if I do Q exclamation point, then it's not going to save my work. What else did we talk
I
about?
don't think this React file works anymore.
Oh, you don't think it's validable? Oh, boom, there it is.
I think we broke the whole React file.
Nah, I think it's working fine. I think our website's still intact. What else can we do? We can search throughout the file. So if you / you can see down the same place the commands happen, but instead of a colon, colon is for command, / is for searching. So we can search, let's say, like title. There's a bunch of titles. So I can search for title, hit enter, and it pops me to the first title after my cursor. And then I can hit N to cycle between the different titles in my file. I can hit capital N to go backwards. So I can search.
Does that N key only work when you're within a search?
So I'm just in normal mode right now. What it actually does is it saves that. Okay, this is going to get technical, so don't worry if you're missing this. But it saves your search, like what you're currently searching, in a special buffer, and then it just when you're in normal mode and you hit N, it's jumping to the next occurrence of whatever is in your special buffer.
Oh.
So.
So N just stands for normal mode. It's just kind of refreshing the normal.
N is next.
It's
Yeah, N is next. So next is N.
Gotcha.
So if I want to go to content, I do / content enter, and boom, it brings me to the next one. And if I want to keep cycling through, I can hit N again. Well, oh, cool. Search at the bottom, continue at the top. I'm on the same place, so there's only one. Good stuff. There's a lot of stuff to learn, and I realize that this is overwhelming, and you're not going to remember everything. It's overwhelming for everybody. You're not alone. There's these cheat sheets online that show you what every key means, and whatever it's like, whatever key and whatever capital of that version of that key means. Nobody knows all of these. I mean, I look at this thing, and I still see stuff I don't recognize after using Vim for 5 years. So, if you ever forget that something exists or like you can't remember what a key is, just bring up one of these cheat sheets. And
Alex, you know what X mode is? Capital Q.
yeah, it's actually old. It was a thing that was necessary in VI, both Vim and I think with like modern macros, it basically like makes them irrelevant, but it's still a thing in Vim. Sometimes in Vim Golf, you'll see people using X mode.
So literally every key on the keyboard is mapped to some function.
You got it. But we actually like you. But no, but don't worry about it. We already know a lot of these. So like if we can look at every. So we don't know these ones. We haven't talked about E, but N, that kind of makes sense. We know W. That's word. So word. End of the word E is end. T. No, that's till. We talked about that one. Yank, undo. Oh wait, we already know basically all of these.
Brad, you can go months or even years using Vim all the time and not need every single thing that it has.
Yeah, I'm sure there are more obscure commands, right, that you don't necessarily need to know as well.
Yeah, and then also it's we're talking about navigating to a destination. You have something in mind, and there's a million ways to do the same thing. It's like the idea of becoming like a ninja and like quote unquote mastering the stuff is just trying to do it as efficiently as possible. So there's a super efficient way to do everything, but there's definitely a way to do everything that's not where you don't have to memorize so many things. Cool. Okay, for the remainder of this talk, the goal is blowing your mind and to inspire you to spend some time learning Vim so you can get to the point of where you're, becoming a ninja. So powerhouse features, cool stuff using Vim. Tabs. Vim has built-in tab support. So if I type tab or tab edit, it stands for TABE. So it's the shorthand for tab edit. But tab, I'm going to open up a new tab. And I can hit GT, go to the tab to swap between them. That's kind of cool. Oh, also I can close each tab individually. split or VS. Okay, I want to see multiple files on the same screen. If I type :split, oh, now I have two versions, same file. And to cycle between, these are called windows in Vim speak. So to cycle between windows, that's mapped to Control W. So you can cycle between windows by hitting Control W, Control W. And I can have two places in a file. I can also open, let's say I want to open other files. E is edit. So I can open a file, or like, yeah, :E is open a file. I have no idea what this is.
Yeah, was it trying to spawn?
Not sure. Okay, I want to globally delete all the lines that contain the word cool. That's getting pretty complicated. So that's :G/, :G is the command, /, and then I want to type, my search param, and then I want to type like the action that I'm doing it to. So globally, search for cool, and then delete all of those lines. What does that look like? Let's say I want to delete all the lines that contain head. I would hit :G/head.
You hit semicolon.
That's what I mean. No, I don't think I did. Yeah. Semicolons with the so :G/, so I want to do name /D. So I'm going to look for all of the lines that contain name, and I'm going to delete it. Buffered for a second. I don't know. There's a new Mac update, and it's slower than it used to be. But yeah, so that searches for all the lines that contain name. It's something that's a little bit, more popular. Let's say I want to delete all of the lines that contain an open bracket, or like an open angle bracket. I want to delete just all of these lines. Well, one way I can do that is globally search for all of the angle brackets, the open angle brackets, and I want to delete those lines. Cool. Okay, that's a cool thing. Let's say I want to substitute cool with hot in all of the lines and everywhere. This is like find and replace. Well, how does this work? Well, if you ever see %, that just means apply this command to every line of the file. S, if you've ever used, if you're an OG Linux user, you've probably heard of the command or a tool called sed, S-E-D. It's like a find and replace tool in files. So Vim has sed built in, but you can think of it as substitute. That's another way to think of it. So I'm going to substitute cool with hot in every line and every place in every line. So let's say I want to do that. I want to replace title with super title or something like that. I'm going to hit %s / title. So that's what I'm searching for / super title /G. /G just makes it apply to every time in every line. So boom, all the titles are switched to super titles. Now this is like kind of built in, but to a lot of other IDEs. But if you think about the amount of effort that goes into hitting Control F, going to the little GUI, clicking on a text box, typing what you want to search for, clicking the drop down arrow, typing what you want to replace it to, and then hitting enter. It's archaic, but imagine if you could just type the command. It's much faster once it's under your fingers. More complicated stuff. Let's say I want to replace cool with hot in all of the lines that contain the word weather. Well, I can do that by chaining commands in Vim. So I'm going to search globally for every line that contains the word weather, and then I'm going to pipe that into another command, sed, and I'm going to replace cool with hot in all of those lines. What does that look like? Okay, let's say I want to search for all of the lines that contain a bracket or an angle bracket, and I want to only change those titles, because there's other titles that I don't want to touch. Well, I could do :G, and then search for the lines that contain an angle bracket. And then I want to do a substitution on those lines, title to super title. And I want to do it every time on every line. So this is going to search through my file, find all of the lines that contain an angle bracket, and then update those. Yeah. Pretty wild, right? Has anybody heard of grep?
Yes.
We've all heard of grep, right? Well, grep is a tool. It's in the command line tool that It searches a file for any line that matches a regular expression, and then it prints out that line. Ever wonder where the word grep comes from? It comes from Vim. I want to globally search for every line that matches this regular expression. I want to print it.
I always thought the G was for GNU.
Actually, yeah. So it is. I'm using the wrong word, but I think of it as globally. GNU, I don't think is very helpful. But yeah. I mean, G and Vim technically is just a special character. It's like an amalgamation of a bunch of features, but most of them are like global things. So :G is just global regex prints or yeah, it definitely comes with GNU regex prints, whatever.
I see both online, so who knows what the real answer is.
Gotcha. So let's say I want to just print all the lines that have the word title in it. So I want to look through every line, search for title, and I want to print all those lines. It's kind of cool. And it also gives me the line numbers. So let's say like I'm at the bottom of a 1,000-line file, and I know that there's a definition somewhere, and I know that there's a few different places where this happens, and I want to see the context without jumping there necessarily. Well, I can just quickly find that out. Okay, now that you're really comfortable with Vim, you want to use it everywhere. Z shell. Z shell is like a bash. It's like have y'all heard of Z shell? You know, it's another command line. Z shell has a built-in Vim mode. All you need to add to you need to add to your ZSHRC bind key tac v. V stands for Vim. That puts your command line in Vim mode. So my command line's in Vim mode. So let's say I want to, I don't know. Let's say I want to like get to a lengthy command. Cool. This is a pretty lengthy command. Well, let's say I want to edit just like one like that character or like that word in my command. Well, previously this is an annoying task of using your arrow keys and like going all the way back, and it takes forever. Well, in Vim mode, I can just hit escape, and now I'm in normal mode, and I can go to the beginning of the line, go forward a word, change the word, change the word to something, and I can use Vim in my command line. Super, super helpful.
Same thing with your .bash RC file too.
Yeah, so I'll show you my Z shell RC. Yeah, actually, I don't know about bash. I know it's a Z shell. I'm not sure about bash. But yeah, bind key tac v is in mode.
We have a question on Nostr for you.
Yeah, what's up?
Tony wants to know if you like COC.
COC.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, no,
It's like completion.
yeah, it's I don't think I have it. It's a buffer.
But you're familiar with what it is?
I'm trying to remember what it. I've used it. I've seen it before, but I'm not. I think it's like Control N or something.
Sure.
Like yeah. So maybe I can't remember. Yeah, it's a plugin. We can figure it out. Not sure. Those are all my settings. COC even. Node.js extension. Oh, it's for it's a language server.
It's like the LSP. It's sort of obsolete now that Lewin has the built-in LSP.
Yeah. Okay, so if you want syntax highlighting and you want to like see your docs kind of like with VS Code, like when you hover over something, this is a plugin to turn Vim into your IDE. Cool. It's Vim mode. VS Code. Well, okay, a lot of people don't want to say goodbye to VS Code and jump over to Vim. It's a lot to say goodbye. There's a ton of cool features in VS Code. I use VS Code still. But let's say you want to code like a ninja inside of VS Code. Well, you can do that. There's an extension called the Vim. It's built by VS Code people with VS Code Vim, and it lets you use Vim inside of VS Code. This is my developer experience. I'm not actually using vanilla Vim like the super hackers out there. I'm a mere pleb, and I like the other hotkeys and other stuff that VS Code has to offer. So yeah, you can still use Vim inside of VS Code. Big fan.
So Vim, vanilla Vim, like you say, is an IDE in and of itself.
Yeah, there's like a software called Vim, and that's like originally like that was the only place that you could use like the Vim key bindings. But then because there's so many people using Vim, and now there's these power feature like tools, there's like these awesome IDEs. Basically, every major IDE has a Vim like key binding plugin, so it can let you act like you're using Vim inside of this like awesome software.
Don't be surprised. He thought everyone loved COC.
Honestly, I would. I've never tried to use COC like the language service.
Because you're using it when VS Code is a Vim extension, so you get your highlighting there. It sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah. If I was using Vim as an IDE, like you need to use something like that. Yeah. I mean, I can't say goodbye to VS Code. VS Code's too good. Not worth it in my mind.
That makes sense.
Vim Golf. Okay, this is where it gets insane. Oftentimes, like I'm still learning Vim. You know, nobody stops learning Vim. Everybody's learning Vim. If you want to see what the best people in the world at using Vim are doing, there's a website called Vim Golf. Vim Golf has challenges, and the goal is to convert a starting file to an ending file in as few keystrokes as possible in Vim. So it's a Ruby program. Just to demonstrate what this looks like. Let's see what the world record is. 11J DG. Okay. Well, I'm going to paste this this string for Vim Golf. Vim Golf is going to throw up because I don't have permission for. Okay, so this jumps me into a like vanilla version of Vim without all my awesome settings. The point being, it has to be a level playing field, so you can't like cheat and put like a hotkey just to solve the challenge in like one keystroke. So it jumps you into like a vanilla Vim, and the goal of this challenge is to add I think it's like a new line after every 10 lines or something of the whole file. But how fast can we do that? Let's copy what the world record is. So we're going to type 11J, and then we're going to do delete to the end of the line, or delete to the end of the whole file. And then we're going to hit capital D, Y. So capital D deletes where my cursor is until the end of the line, and then Y is yank. So yank, H is high, so till the top of my screen. Capital H is, yeah. So that yanks to the top of my screen, and then I'm gonna paste it 9 times above. So 9. Capital P is pasted above. Lowercase p is pasted below, but capital P is pasted above. Boom, it's easy, cool. It's kind of cool. So you can challenge yourself, see how good you can get. And you can see, I think it's really cool that they. Sorry.
I missed the ZZ. What is it?
ZZ is right quit, but in 2 keystrokes instead of 3.
Oh.
Yeah, capital Z is just
So
right
it
quit.
just saves the file.
It's the exact same thing as :WQ. Like :WQ is right quit,
Okay.
but capital Z is right quit a little bit faster.
Huh.
Cool.
So were all those wins roughly the same? Was it the same key set?
Sorry.
On the Vim Golf page.
These are all have the same score of 12. If I refresh, because I solved it in 12, it now shows me better ones.
Oh, 11. So much needed.
Well, okay, so the quirk is that it gives you the answers, but only the answers that are slightly better than the ones that you've attempted. So if my best score was 12, I just inputted that. Now it shows me the 11s. It shows you like it steps you forwards. So it doesn't let you just like skip to the best in the world. Like it shows you one that's like really good, and then you do that, and it shows you one that's like a little bit better. And yeah.
It says there's 32 better. So we do this one, and now we're going to see an even better one after we do the 11.
Correct. So this is
Okay.
It's but the world record you can see is 10. Yeah. Okay, we're getting close to the end, guys. Some final thoughts. And anybody have questions about anything so far? This is kind of the end of the educational section.
So capital H is to the top of the screen, like the visible screen.
Yeah, there's high, medium, I can't remember, but maybe it's low, capital L or something. So capital M is middle of the screen. I never use those, but they're useful in Vim golf sometimes. Some final thoughts. Number one, learning Vim is an investment. The more you put in, the more you get out of it. I tell people that it costs about a month of being bad at Vim in order to use Vim. Everybody sucks at the beginning, and if you use it for like a month consistently, then you'll not suck, and then everything after that is profit. Number two, don't start learning Vim with a work project that you care about. Start at home. At least for the first couple of weeks, it's going to be slow. It's going to be a struggle, and you're going to have to try to remember things, and you're not going to be as productive as you are using your normal tools. So if you have a deadline in mind, it's something you have to get done. You're never going to stick through it. So I highly recommend that you start 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there every night for a couple weeks, and then when you're comfortable just kind of moving around and you kind of you're not running into issues that often, that's when you can start using it at work. Number three, yes, Vim can do that. Oftentimes when you're using Vim, you'll think about your amazing IDE that's like super modern and decked out, and you'll be thinking, I'm not going to switch over to Vim unless it can do that thing. Well, trust me, it can do that thing, but sometimes it's better just to learn the basics and then once you get the basics down, you can learn about these awesome things. So Vim can do everything that you want it to. It's a powerhouse, so just stuff those feelings down until you get good, and then you can learn how to do all the cool stuff. When you're stuck in the middle of the learning curve, think about the end goal. It's pretty magical when you get good, and it's wildly impressive. And just being able to do like a few things immediately impresses all of your friends. I promise. So, think about becoming a ninja. Yeah, that's the whole talk. So there's a few links to look at. There's a Stack Overflow post about your favorite shortcut in Vim. I always learn stuff by looking at those. There's an article talking about this, like the syntax, the language with nouns and verbs. That's where I got that from. There's a really cool website called Vimcasts. This is where basically people do what I was doing with walking you through how to do stuff. They have a file open. They say, okay, I want to do this thing on this file. And then they show you how it's done. And it's like a walkthrough. And then finally Vim Golf. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Thank you so much for that. How would you like to go next? Do you want to take some questions or something? Do people want to try and do a couple things on their computer with them for a little bit? Or do you want to proceed?
Yeah, I mean, if you guys have questions, that's the priority. But if you also want help setting up your Vim and using a Vim RC, and that's also an option.
I think I'm going to go ahead and kill the stream so that we can just chat and help each other out and all that. So if you're watching online, thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you for the next workshop.
Bye, Tony.
Let's see, end broadcast.